Patrick. 7 albums, 13 years, couple of EPs thrown in there. New singles
Yep.
just come out.
Yep.
Coffee enthusiast.
Yes. Yeah.
I see you just
My,
got a new.
as a matter of fact, my wife was gracious enough because I was running around. She's literally going to bring me a cup of coffee while we're talking. So I'm in deep with the coffee for sure.
Look, being British originally, this is tea. Admittedly, it's not coffee. But
It's okay.
no, what
Yeah,
what
we
was
like tea too. Hot beverages. Let's go.
yeah. What was the idea about like getting into something that is so not music?
Okay, so so I have a couple of careers that are soul stripping. You know, that the amount of time and effort you have to put into my chosen professions in order to be like good at it and good enough to actually call it a career. You have to apply yourself to different parts of it in a way where it becomes like unreasonably demanding. The music scene and the music, just having a job being a touring musician, it's first all the time learning how to be good enough at your craft to be considered a professional. You know, I wouldn't say I'm a great guitar player, but I would say I'm a good guitar player. And it has gotten me to the point where I'm capable of being a professional. I'm also a tattooer. I own a tattoo shop. So being involved in that career base, also have to sink tons and tons of time into just learning how not to do tattooing so you can be good enough to be called a professional. So I have these two careers that are very, very demanding, and they both require me being away from my family, and they're very hectic. So I'm straight edge. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke weed. I don't do any of those things. Oh, you are a beautiful person.
Very good.
It's going to be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Talk to the devil.
Oh my God, that's great. That's fantastic. So, and then, you know, so I have these careers that are so unbelievably demanding that I needed an outlet that I could talk to people that don't know anything about metal, that don't care about guitars or tattoos, or they're just there for something different. Now, being that I don't drink and I don't smoke weed and I don't do any of these things, and I needed something to fall into, coffee was kind of a thing I always enjoyed, but I never like knew that there was a culture behind it. And then all of a sudden, I would go to, you know, a coffee place, and, you know, it used to just be Starbucks, but my friend would be like, oh, you have to try this place. It's great. And then one day I tried a co-ferment, and back then it was called an anaerobic, which is like this fermented, yeasty, fruity, and I was blown away and then hooked like that. And then I started meeting people from all walks of life that were not tied into the world that I come from. But now musicians everywhere talk about coffee. They all love it. It's a huge part of the music touring culture. Find good coffee shops, get good coffee. So it became this thing that is now a part of what I already do, but it wasn't when I first really started getting into it. So, you know, it's this cross section of like, you'll never get away from the music industry, but also it allows me to have a hobby that I can turn my brain off to my job, focus on something different, and just, you know, enjoy brewing, making, reading about, and learning about coffee. And literally that's as far as it goes. I know it sounds like a big mouthful, but, you know, it sounds better when I tell it like this, but I could also just simply say, well, I fucking love coffee, and that's why I like it. You know what I mean? So
I appreciate the passion. I know. I talking about musicians, man. Interviewed Wolf Hoffman from Accept ages ago. Loves his coffee. Like that was the thing that came out there, and I've noticed with a number of musicians, there's passions that they have. RJ Hale from Hailstorm loves his fragrances, like doing things like that, and it's
Yeah.
I find it quite appealing because, like, 20, 30 years ago, you didn't know this about musicians. And then it's like,
Yeah.
no, we've got our own quirks. We like our own things that we're passionate about
Sure.
that isn't getting on stage and thrashing. So,
Yeah. I mean, I have a thing about it's funny you say fragrances. Like I also like that stuff. Like I like you've fallen, I think first of all, people, it's like you said, like me going to pick up my kid and, get my car towed to the shop so I can get a new alternator put in it. Like, like people would say, like, well, that's not very rock and roll. Like you would, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's the only thing people knew about rock stars and I am not calling myself a rock star. I'm saying I would look at these rock and roll gods and be like, oh, Ozzy Osbourne's, doing cocaine and biting the heads off of bats. You know what I mean? And like that's the thing you expect. Truthfully, they're hanging out in the green room, drinking coffee, and like talking about their kids, grades, and it's not what people think it is. At least not in our world, for sure.
well, let's talk about that world. Okay, so
Sure.
you've just finished a European leg with Kill Switch Engage,
Starts
and
the
then
second leg. We start the second leg in 5 days.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Then you come back home, and then you're over to Australia. You've got the 5 shows here with Body Snatcher, Volatile Ways, and Pain Body.
Yep.
Um, this is on the back of the album that came out last year, The Nothing That Is, and then you've also brought the new song, It Comes For You. Can you tell us a little bit about that new song, It Comes For You, and what the video means?
It's the idea of never being able to escape the inevitable, and it's the idea of being controlled, being oppressed, and falling in line to the people that would have you do that. You watch the video and it's a very clear picture. They're trying to force a confession of submission. And it feels like there's a lot of that going on in the world today. And it felt like that was the thing we needed to do. And the song is extremely aggressive and the video is extremely aggressive. And, it's the idea of these things can come for any one of us. Once they start happening in one place, they can come for you no matter where you are, who you are, what you're doing. It's just a matter of when, where, how, and who. So that's kind of the idea behind all of it. The lyrics are very self-explanatory, you know what I mean? And like the idea of, the last line in the song reflects on, prying my ideas out of my cold, dead hands. You know what I mean? It's like the idea of like, you'll never take this from me, but you're trying to oppress me and this can come for anybody. There's all these different things, but I mean, pretty much in a nutshell, it's about being controlled and that it can come for anybody at any time.
You feel like, you just come back from Europe, so you've been there touring. I don't know how much of the news that you can watch, but when you're outside of your own country, do you get the impression that a song like It Comes For You could literally be about what's happening in America at the moment with people like ICE and such forth?
It 100% is about that. There's like no question. It's not just about ICE. It's not just about things that are happening here that are on the surface. It's about everything. It's about the way that our country is being driven in the current state of things and where we're being forced to go. And, the thing that, some people think they're safe. And I mean, are you? Does it matter who you are or what you are? Like you don't know. You don't know what the plans are. You don't know what the agenda is, but our country is crazy right now. And some of the things that are happening, it's like you watch it and it doesn't feel real. It's like whoever is doing this watched too many sci-fi movies and, did all of these different, it just feels like a fucking movie script right now. So, yeah, I mean, we have always been influenced by current events and what's going on. And if there's something happening in the world and in one of our songs, you get a feeling that we're referencing that kind of, there's a chance that you're right. We're very aware And that's because of Will. Will is extremely aware guy, and I learn a lot being in a band with him about like the state of the world and where things are, and the kind of stuff that we should be thinking about and focusing on. And and that song, you nailed it. And the funny thing is you read the lyrics to that, and I think it can be applied like all over the world. It's not just in the US that kind of stuff is happening. It's happening all over the world. And it's just the US is just doing it in a way right now that you can't escape it. It's fucking right there. You open your phone every day and it's just chaos. You know what I mean? So
the next part we'll move into is obviously you're going to be here in January. You're going to be on the Froth and Fury Festival, and you got your 4 shows. Do you guys line up a kind of a different set list or approach playing your 4 shows to a festival differently?
Well, we'll have a shorter set. So I don't think that we have any fluff in our set. I think we always fill our set with like the bangers, and our headliners are just longer versions of that. Like on this Kill Switch tour that we're doing, we have a 35-minute direct support set. So you can only cram so many songs into 35 minutes. You're looking at 6 songs tops, 7 maybe. Actually, I think we're doing 8, and they're letting us go over by like a minute and a half. And Joe barely gets to talk. We're just cramming as much music in as we can. But I mean, I don't know what our set time will be like at Froth and Fury, but I feel like we'll probably get a half an hour to 40 minutes, something like that. So we'll put in whatever we can on that set. All the bangers. It'll just be banger, 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 banger. No maybe moodier songs. It's just going to be all the hits. But then when we do a headliner set and we have like a little bit more freedom, we'll do the stuff we want to do. We know that the fans have things that they want to hear, and I fucking hate the word fans, but the people that support us, they're going to want to hear certain songs. They want to hear the new single. They want to hear the most popular song. They want to hear Far From Heaven. Some of them probably want to hear Black Mammoth. See a Tragic Beast is always a hit. But I want to play Warfare. I want to do Birds of Prey. I want to do the songs that I want to play. So we'll throw those songs into an hour and 10-minute set. And I think we're doing an hour, maybe an hour 5 in the Australian headliner dates. So those people will get a little more from us. The festival, we're just going to smash everybody in the face with all the fucking bangers and just move it on. You know what I mean? And then that's going to be it. So sometimes it's Spotify numbers or, depending on what's streaming the best and what's not, and, what's popular in the moment, we might throw a song like that in there because those numbers definitely move up and down. But you just try to please everybody on the short ones and then please yourself on the long ones.